Good evening and welcome to the DFG show. I'm DFG, your host, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571 where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. Uh, you got to forgive me today. I just got out of another meeting. Actually had to do my daytime job a little later than usual. Um, Tonight I didn't have a real subject, but I do want to talk about all this chatter we're having about civil war and all that other good stuff. Before I start, I want to ask my co-hosts if they're on. They're not on yet, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. Um, my first co-host is my sister from the same Mister and same Mrs. Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl. I also have the lady that's sweet as Snapple. Her name is Apple. And of course, the one that's mean, lean, and never mean. Her name is Bean. I also have the usual family that's here with me, Miss Kim and Miss Sum Sum. Also, Miss Nikki on YouTube Live. I could be found on YouTube Live, TikTok Live, Instagram Live, Rumble, also Facebook Live. All my socials are up. You just hit my link tree and in my description, and you'll find me doing everything. I talk about a wide range of topics, from political to critical to romance to finance to jobs and slobs. We're going to talk. If it's out there, we're going to talk about it. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about, in the wake of CK's unaliving, that stuff's still going on with Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled and uncanceled when people started messing with Disney's pockets. There are a lot of times we talk about a civil war. I got a video I'm going to play, and it is mainly to do with the likelihood of a civil war. So sit back, relax, and watch. Well, coming back to that, I'm sorry to don't know what's wrong with the sound. I'm just trying to get it to make it work. So, um, here's DFG's take on this whole thing. If there's going to be a civil war, it's going to be um, pissed white folks against other pissed white folks, and maybe some Asians and Hispanics, but we are not the ones in the business of starting this civil war. Although we'll probably try to get dragged into it because they're trying to drag us in any way possible. So I tell all my people that are melanated, especially foundationals, to watch yourselves, be careful, and knowing that keep your head on a swivel. because you never know what's going on with how people are going to act around you. Now, saying that, I see that Big Al and Apple have joined us. Um, Big Al, you've done a lot. You've done a while in the service of the government. What do you think? How likely do you think it is that there's going to be a civil war, and who are going to be the participants?
I think very unlikely. Uh, if there is something, there'll be a bunch of extremists, Proud Boys, or one of those radical groups who'll start something. But I think that will quickly get squashed out. So when you look at the demographics of the United States, in most of the large cities, New York, Georgia, uh, Chicago, Mississippi, Alabama, the preponderance of people are people of color. And over time, we have armed ourselves. I have bought probably 6 weapons over the last couple of years, and I've got all armor piercing just in case. And that's only because uh, during COVID, I went to the PX to buy a weapon. And while I was there, there were probably about 20 white guys who all looked like skinhead neo Nazis, and they started talking, knowing that I was a man of color, and they were making jokes saying a lot of people are running around buying toilet paper and tissue, and we are buying weapons and ammunition. And I've gone to several gun shows here in the local area, and it's those neo-Nazi, MAGA-wearing hat folks who are buying multiple assault weapons and ammunition. So I think there will probably be pockets where there will be some things popping off, where there will be some gunfire and what the good old boys would want to call the start of a civil war. But I have to think that that's going to be squashed real quickly because the areas where there are the most of us are these big urban populations where brothers have got a lot of urban warfare experiences with gangs and a lot of the other things that go on. And then you look at the Latino community. So I I think there's a possibility, but it's not going to be something major, widespread. There'll just be pockets where there'll be things breaking out, and I think we'll retaliate, and it'll get squashed real quick.
So here's another question: do you think there's enough armed forces within the United States to be able to contain to actually like declare martial law or have any type of super military crackdown without I mean just a number of people you got to have in order to hold ground?
Uh, well, one of the problems is that if it becomes a racial war, the soldiers that would be employed are going to primarily be military, police, infantry, combat arms. And those combat arms I mean, soldiers and officers are primarily people of color. From a demographics perspective, most of the Caucasians are in intel, they're in cyber, they're into finance, they're into AG. So those are not the kinds of people in the National Guard or in the active force that are going to be out enforcing uh, civil control during a major event. It's going to be primarily combat arms. So if it becomes racial, then you got a lot of black and brown soldiers who are going to have weapons, who are going to be, deployed to do things.
Okay, and that's and what people don't understand with the size of the United States and the amount of people in the United States to hold territory by just the U.S. Army, just the U.S. Armed Forces in general, it'll be labor intensive and like Al said, there'll be a demographic and cultural shift to people firing upon family members or people that look like them. So that I mean, we can look at it as that, but in reality, the likelihood of martial law being put in is probably not too high. So saying that, Chocolate Pearl, do you think there's going to be a civil war? And if you do, who's going to be fighting who?
I think everybody's gonna be fighting us.
Well, we
Oh,
ain't participating. We took our trophies and went home. We took our ball and went home.
just saying that because of how things are working out with the world today. However, I really don't know. I really didn't pay attention to it because one, I'm moving. Two, I'm just tired of listening to the stupidity of the world, and it's not just um, us. It's the cause of us. I believe a lot of that's the cause of us, but I just think it's just stupidity going on, and I just can't deal with it anymore
Well,
to listen to it.
that's one of the things that I mean, I know you don't want to listen to, but you got to keep your ear to the ground, especially since some of the people are trying so desperately to get us involved. You notice that you know, ceramic Carl unalived porcelain Paul, and our colleges got death threats and bomb threats. That made zero sense. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I see that. It's somehow
they
they're just targeting us
because they want to drag
for
us in.
some
They want to
reason.
have an excuse. They want to have an excuse for us to but they waiting for us to jump. But we've been from the beginning, we've been sitting back and saying, this is y'all fight. I said, y'all wanted
Exactly.
this. This is kind of what you get. So what is your opinion on that?
I agree. I think we are in the cut. I think they're going to try to drag us in. I think we are going to be smart enough to keep our distance. We're going to have a lot of representation from, I believe, Blacks in the media, in the news, that will
It works
pretty
for that.
much hold down the line, if you will, and make it known that we're not a part of this. We've tried to warn you guys, but you didn't listen. So this is where we are right now. And just keeping that in the forefront, just not backing down, letting everybody know, listen, we don't, this ain't got nothing to do with us. Y'all fight and have y'all hey, have a party, get dressed up in that old war gear that y'all like to do the reenactments in. Have at it. Meet in the battlefield, do what y'all got to do, and we'll be spectators. But we're
But
not
we
gonna
don't
be
want
in
to
there.
be Annabella.
Exactly. There you go. We'll be spectators. We'll be on the sideline watching while the buildings continue to burn. But this is a new day. And we are not in the houses anymore. We're not in the fields now. This is and we ain't going back. And and I know we've made it known, but we will continue to make it known. Now we are this is a new day. And so if they think they're going to drag us in, they got another thing coming, because we are smarter. and wiser and more connected now. And we are the trendsetters. So,
Braver.
and we are braver. Amen. So,
So that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna switch it over to Miss Dream. Um, we last week we talked about the effects of the National Guard in DC, and you notice it was mostly DC National Guard, and most of the thing they were doing was for presence and area, what they call in the military area beautification, which Big Al will tell you means you cleaning up stuff and picking up trash. Um, do you think that there's going to be a civil war? And if you do, who's going to be fighting who? I guess she's not on right now. So
I am
I,
on. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So I think the problem is kind of like someone alluded to. We don't have the manpower really for civil war here within the. I'm wondering that's why he's doing this state by state and trying to hit, I think, places that he thinks are problematic with the black mayors and things like that, because I think he realizes there's more of, because I feel like we are them instead of more of like himself. So with that being said, I think the Civil War is more so kind of like what you've been seeing, a war for the hearts and minds. They're fighting this through the media, trying to sell all types of propaganda. And now all of a sudden you make some crazy announcement about a cure for autism. And I mean, it's almost like the taking over of the mass media and the mind of the people, so that they don't realize that what is happening here is what you're seeing and it's crazy. But I think the Kimmel thing is the fact that he had to reinstate him. You can see where the emperor really has no clothes, and it is all about the money and the people after all. Because so the Civil War, it's a war. It's happening now. I mean, I guess you can characterize it as civil war, but it's not. It's not going to be on the battlefield war. So it's a different type of war. It's a war for the minds, the hearts, trying to um, break down these structures of governments. That's the war, and we're actually in the midst of it.
that's um that's interesting. That's an interesting take. So you're saying that we're actually going through a civil war right now, even though it's now no bullets flying. Well,
Yeah.
literally no bullets flying, but
I mean, it's the same, right? There's literally no bullets flying, but we're at war within the constitutionality of everything that's happening in this government, where the Supreme Court is allowing things that everyone keeps saying unprecedented. And we're walking around living in this criminal enterprise where this man is taking you got a bag of cash. I mean, where is that? Like this is effectively, we are in the war. And the bad part is they want us to check out. They want it to be so crazy that we can't even watch anymore. But the more of us bear witness, the more we see that this ain't right. And this, like, it's so funny. I feel like they purposely do it like this because they know a war with weapons, that's war's not going to work. So it's almost like let's put the people against each other and let's try to take over using the powers of government.
yeah. But here's the deal with that, and you do have a point. The issue with that is that they want everybody to turn, they want to have a scapegoat, and we all know who the scapegoats are, and the scapegoat is not playing the scapegoat role. We're not out there protesting, we're not out there rioting and setting fires.
And that's why they're
We're,
getting upset. It's not going down as fast as they think it would. And that's why why do you think he keeps coming for these Democratic controlled cities? Because it's like, dang, I want these people to act a fool so I can have an excuse to do foolishness. So it's a good thing. And I think, in the sense, what we are doing is fighting back. And we're
yeah,
basically letting the ones who made this decision, who supported this man, unfortunately, we're being impacted. But you know what? This is what y'all asked for. You should see all of them crying when my insurance plan came out this week for work. And especially, knock on wood, I'm well. But a lot of teachers are not well. They're sick. And now medicines that they didn't have to pay for, coverages that we have a deductible in the first time ever. And I've been working there for 17 years. And it's crazy. Like now we have to meet a certain amount before the insurance kicks in. And this is all
Yeah,
because of that big, beautiful bill. And some of those same people voted for it.
yes, the big beautiful bill for billionaires.
All right.
Yeah, it's also affecting military retirees. If you have a program called TRICARE for Life,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're not paying for any GLP-1s, which like Ozempic or Wegovy or anything like that. So they're upping for prescriptions. They're actually charging co-pays if you're out of network, and as well as some you got to do within the network. It's kind of messed up because that's not what they promised veterans. But you know, if you were smart, you have supplemental insurance. So everything that our country was supposed to do, our country's kind of reneging on, even though people don't want that to happen. It's happening because they voted for it, and now they're
Exactly.
now we're all reaping what they've sown. In order to hurt others so bad, they basically aimed and pulled the trigger up to their foot. Uh, what about you, Apple? How are you doing?
I want to say something when you get a chance.
Okay, go ahead, Apple, and then Chocolate Pearl.
I'm good. I basically feel the same way. I think, and I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think they're trying to incite a race war in order to have a civil war. So he could come in, or his administration can come in and quote unquote save us, be the hero, put a stop to it. And I think
Right.
that's what's going to happen. But, thank goodness that we're not taking the bait. We're looking at them like, okay, this is what y'all want. We're not going to engage. Y'all can fight amongst yourselves. Where, even as last year, it would have been on and pop. But we're smarter than the average rabbit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And we're not
definitely.
we're not falling for it. And I'm proud of us for not falling for it because we see it for what it is. They want to
That's
incite a race war so they can start a civil war so the billionaires can make more money.
This is true because when war, that's for rich people, that's the purpose of war, to thin out that population and get money on the way. Apple, I mean, Chocolate Pearl, you had something you want to say?
Dad want to.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about a little bit about what everybody, we keep saying and throwing it out there as they knew what they were voting for. Unfortunately, I believe they didn't know, and that's the problem. They were ignorant to the fact. They didn't pay attention. They didn't listen, and that's what happened. So, of course, now we're all getting screwed for what the people didn't listen to it. Us that knew, that paid attention, knew. They didn't pay attention. They didn't listen. If they would have listened a little bit more, or even try, they so far up, whatever's going on with the system, they just didn't care. They just thought, okay, it's cool. We're gonna make it happen, and it just that wasn't the fact. They were just ignorant to the fact. That's the biggest problem.
I
Yeah,
want to say I think they did know. They didn't care because they didn't think it was going to affect them as much as it does now. I think they absolutely knew what they were voting for. They knew what was going to happen, but they thought it was just going to affect others and not them. And now that it's coming back to bite them in the tushy, now it's blame the black people.
yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
think
Go
if they
ahead,
would have
Big
paid
Al.
attention, it would have made a big difference. They go on about their stuff. They go on about their business, and don't think about what's going on, what's happening. And I think that's the biggest thing. And they still doing it. That's the worst part about it. They still doing it.
Kamala said in her race exactly what was going to happen And everything that she said that was going to happen happened verbatim. But they wasn't listening to that.
Well, understood. Summer, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm trying to see how to word this. For the Hispanic community, I believe that, I agree. Camilla's, she basically gave a breakdown of what would happen. I think people kind of ignored her. They had their mind made up. But for the Hispanic community, I still in my mind am picturing a lady stating that she felt that she was tricked. And she said that they said one thing, and when after everything was said and done, she says, I feel like they tricked me. This is not what they promised. So it's just a lot of uh, miscommunication. People are not really uh, educating themselves to me to really see, what the true outcome is. Like we a lot of these politicians, they do lie. They're going to make themselves sound great, hype themselves up, but it's up to us to really kind of do the research and see, oh, wait a minute, no, 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 if I do this, this is what's going to happen. So this lady, I just keep getting, she just popped in my head about saying, they tricked, Trump tricked us, because she was one of the ladies that was out there with her band, and they had the hats and the Latinos for Trump, and they was partying in the streets. And then as soon as he got elected, I want to say her husband got deported. She was on the news crying and just felt like she was betrayed, like the ultimate betrayal. So it's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that's the I will vote for Donald Trump. Um, yeah, that's what understand. They didn't get tricked. They just thought it was going to be against everything was going to be against us because that's the way it was packaged. But they don't realize that although they're not black, they're definitely not white. And a lot of that had a lot to do with it. But to them, I say, oh well. Big Al, I thought you had wanted to say something. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, no, 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 no. I think all great points, and I think it was Miss Dream who said that we're already in that war right now. It's more of a mental and spiritual war, especially when you look at and listen to what a lot of the evangelical white so-called pastors are preaching. And one of the reasons I focused on the guns and being ready is I live in a area that's predominantly Caucasian. And what bothers me is I still see Trump signs in people's yards, almost a year after the election. So in my mind, I am a little more sensitive. I'm a little more aware because there were probably 10 Harris signs in my neighborhood and probably 300 Trump signs. So I know from a demographic perspective, that could be problem. So when I said there could be some of these hate groups who start little pockets, this would be a good neighborhood. We know where the blacks live to do something to try to spar some type of retaliation. So, um, but great conversation and great insights.
And here's another part with when CK got taken off the board, they did the resolution and Democrats voted to make October 14th a day of remembrance for him. And I'm kind of upset because that's also my birthday. I, oh gosh. And ironically, George Floyd's birthday was October the 14th. Um, they doing all this stuff for this guy, and on the same day, two two Caucasian children were unalived by a Caucasian pew pew, and you didn't hear anything about that. There's no memorials for them. No, they get thoughts and prayers. This guy gets a near state funeral. But that's the way it goes, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So that should tell you that's more on what Miss Dream was talking about with, the war's already started.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead, Big Al.
Yeah, and the other thing that keeps me grounded is the biblical text of what we're starting to see in terms of Revelation. Now, normally I don't watch 47, but I watched that UN speech and I laughed during most of it. And all I heard him say, and if anybody have heard it, if you want to go back and pull it up on YouTube, he used the word, I did this and I'm the smartest. And, it's all that prophecy that points to the Antichrist. I mean, you look at all the things that he's doing, all the things that he's saying. And if you go to Revelation, that sounds like 47. So that's one of the things that helps me deal with it, because I'm telling you, my blood pressure was sky high, and I was going through hoops until I settled down and said, hey, this is God's plan. And no matter what we think, it's playing out. And that's one of the things that's helping me to be able to deal with this as I see what's going on.
And here's another thing with that, segueing onto that. Tomorrow's supposed to be the rapture, according to some people. It's been on TikTok and other socials.
No,
They're saying,
I thought it was today was supposed to be the rapture, they said.
oh, today, tomorrow.
Yes,
I don't
today.
know.
I thought that's what happened to you. I said, oh no.
Said, yeah, but the Bible says in Matthew 24:36, no man knows the hour.
Yeah.
Nope, not even the angels in heaven. So for somebody to predict today, tomorrow, whenever to be the rapture, they're not going against they're going against what's in the Bible. But then again, that's a book that people claim to understand, but they never read. And they never read to understand.
Right.
So dealing with Chocolate Pearl, have you heard about the rapture? Apple, have you heard about the rapture?
Yes,
Go ahead,
I
Chocolate
heard
Pearl.
it. We both heard about it. I heard about it today, and I just laughed about it. Everybody's always trying to predict um, the future of stuff. You don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. So why would you try to predict that it's going to end? How do you know it's going to end?
Y2K all over again.
Y2K all over again.
Because and also in the Gospels, Jesus said he's going to come like a thief in the night. Now, I haven't heard a thief schedule a robbery, going to a house. Now they might case the joint, but they're not gonna announce when they're coming. So
Right.
it's a bunch of, it's showing that we are so starved for somebody to take us away from our problems. We're looking for reasons to leave and to escape all of this nonsense that's going on Earth.
Sold his car
Well,
because he felt that the rapture was coming. My thing is this: if the rapture is
yeah.
coming and you sold your car, it don't make a
Well,
difference if you sold it or not. What you gonna do with the money? You spent the money, and now when the rapture don't come, you don't have no car, and you probably spend all the money real quick.
and even if the rapture did come, he couldn't take the money with him, because
Exactly.
There's
I
no
just
need.
thought that was the stupidest thing. And for people to think that it's just God's gonna God's gonna get us when He ready for us to come. You can't determine the day or the hour. And people
Yeah,
just tend to they just want to say, I think they just want somebody just like you said, it's just attention or to pull away from the negativities that's going on. So they figure they'll just say, I'm gonna shut y'all all down because I don't want to listen to this anymore. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So I'm gonna shut it all down, make y'all think that the world's about to end. Sit down some daggone where.
yeah.
The
If it
rapture
was only
coming.
that simple, if it was only that simple, some Sam, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the rapture's coming. Let me hurry up and sell this car, get some money so I can go get some prostitutes real quick and go to heaven happy.
Go to heaven with a social disease, yeah.
And if you're a Muslim, you got to go to heaven with your 24 virgins.
I thought it was 72. I guess inflation done came in.
Yeah, you get 24 virgins. And I scratch my head and say, that is the weirdest thing. If I'm going to go to what I think is heaven, I don't want 24 virgins. I want 24 freaks.
But that's and I'm not trying to mock religion. I'm not trying to say that people shouldn't believe, because you're welcome. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But you have to have some sort of sense. I'm not going to say common sense, because all sense ain't common, to understand that logic does play we do live on a physical law. We might be warfaring in the spirit, but we live in a physical world. And like Chocolate Pearl said, what good is it if you sell your car and you ain't got the money to spend? And even if you were to spend it on women of leisure and ill-gotten gains, that ain't going to get you raptured, because you doing things you're supposed to be holy, sanctified, set aside, acceptable for His use. And somehow I don't think going to SWs are is setting yourself aside. Just might be me. I'm not a preacher, but I'm sure that's not in any holy book. So since we've survived the rapture, now comes the tribulation, according to the book of Revelation. And there's going to be going to be a whole lot of things that are supposed to happen or yet to happen, that we know when the apocalypse comes, or Armageddon, the battle of Mount Megiddo in the Middle East. So when you're dealing with people that are not rational, which a lot of people seem that they're not, what would you say to a person who told you that they were going to get raptured today, tomorrow? I'm gonna start with you, Big Al.
If somebody said that to me,
Yeah, somebody said they were getting raptured, and you see them tomorrow. What are you going to say to them?
I'm just going to avoid saying anything to them because, like you said, people have the right to have beliefs. And even though I know that would be something far-fetched, I just wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't want to give the impression that I'm taunting them, saying, well, you said you were going to get raptured. You still here. What happened? So I would just let it alone and keep on trucking.
What about you, Chocolate Pearl?
I wouldn't follow it up. I'm with Al. I wouldn't follow it up. I ain't got time for that.
What did Dad say?
Dab said he's gonna say, "How was your trip?"
Apple, same question to you.
And he took the words out of my mouth because I'm sarcastic. I'm petty. I would be like, "Welcome back. How was it?"
Some. Same question to you.
I think sorry, there was just a lot of yelling in the background. I think my face would pretty much explain everything. I wouldn't really say much.
Okay, okay. Miss Dream, your same question to you.
What was the question again, please?
What are you going to say to the people that said that? What are you going to say tomorrow to the people that claim the rapture was today when you see them?
I'm looking at one of the people. I guess I'm gonna say, I guess you made it out. We're all
Or
living
you
in
can
it.
get picked up.
Well, we must be here. We must be living in it. It feels like it anyway. So it's hilarious.
Yeah, talking caught up in the rapture of love.
Yeah, somebody played that today. I saw that today on YouTube. Somebody was playing that they got caught up. But that's just it, and I'm not gonna. This is gonna be hard for me to say. I don't wish ill upon those folks that are going through that actually believed, because as someone said earlier, it's what they believed and what they did, but
He was sitting in the Oval Office.
you can't have any sense if they're not if they're coming in and they're not making things about what was supposed to happen. And then where do you go from there as far as belief? Where do you go from there as far as understanding what's going on in the world? How do you go through with that?
Is this you believe what you want to believe. I can't force you not to believe something else. I can try to persuade you to understand a different way, but you're going to still believe what you believe and you're going to stand strong on it. Just like when people believed in 47, they stood strong on him and it was a disappointment. Well, when they wake up tomorrow and the rapture has not happened, guess what? It's just going to be a disappointment and you just move on.
But now here's a question, Chocolate Pearl. Would that make them not believe in in Yahweh?
No, it's not gonna make them not believe. Like I said, they're still gonna believe what they want to believe. Uh, um, it's just a mindset situation. If you're set, if stubborn people, when they're stubborn, they're not gonna move. You know what I'm saying? They're just not gonna move. So what they believe in is what they believe in. It's just they're gonna have to deal with the disappointment. And when they deal with the disappointment, they just find something else to believe in. That's in that same, realm of thinking. That's all. Flip the
Okay.
page.
Okay. I mean, I tend to agree with you. However, we both know life is not that simple, and people are not that smart, because
No.
only smart people don't like 47. That's what he said. He said smart people don't like him. So,
Yeah.
but
He ain't never lied on that one.
but here's the crazy thing. A lot of these people that say that they believed in the rapture, because somebody told them, they hadn't studied. Like I said, they hadn't studied. A lot of people look at the Bible, and a lot of people open it and look at the words, but they don't read the Bible. They don't study to
They
show
don't
themselves
study it,
approved.
right?
Yes. 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show yourself approved, a workman not be ashamed of his tools. So it's not just look at it or understand it. You have to make it a part of your life, because sometimes, even and Jesus did say, even some of the elect will be deceived, but be not deceived, because they say, lo, he is here, lo, he is there, but you'll know when the Son of Man will arrive. That's not my words. Those are his words. And I want to shout out my boy White Flash on my boy from QB. He's on the show listening to Facebook Live. I got to shout out QB Queensbridge, the place, the one, the only, the place 696, New York City, Long Island City, 6 blocks, the hottest spot. If you ain't been there, you need to go there. Check it out, Queensbridge. Brought to you by me, a lifelong resident of Queensbridge. Well, anyway, but a lot of times we don't look at people to save us intellectually. We look at people to save us spiritually. We look at people to save us financially. But we can't let ourselves get into such a position to where we're not doing anything to save ourselves, take care of ourselves, because we're so used to we're looking for a savior, whether it be Christ, whether it be alcohol, whether it be illicit substances. We're looking for something to save us. And the only one that can start to save is you. You can't just sit there and wait for somebody to come save you. It's an action. You gotta do things, and you gotta be aware of what's going on around you. Some people don't care if it ain't happening directly to them, they don't care. And that's not the way, even if you're a Christian or even if you're not a Christian. That's not the way to be. You have to care about your neighbor, because by the grace of God, there go you. We talking about people who we talk about people who don't do things in a way that gets people to understand what's going on. And then we're wondering why these people are tripping, why these people are saying, coming out the side of their mouth, because a lot of times we don't understand them. And we don't understand because we don't want to understand them. I think that's the way, um, with the majority of the population, they don't want to understand. They want to get what they want and not be how they are, or understand people for who they are, understand people for being people. They just look at things like color, ethnicity, language, nationality, and that's what they base their life on. They say, I am this, and that's how it's supposed to be, even though we all members of the human race, and we should treat each other with somewhat of decency. The golden rule: do unto others as they would have done unto you. Be the best person that you can be, and don't worry about what other people, because you got to make sure that you're straight. Put the mask on yourself first before putting the mask on somebody else, because Jesus did say, and this is, you know, and Jesus said a lot of things in the Bible, but he did say, the blind lead the blind? And the way we're looking, we're following, and I say we as a country. Not everybody believes in 47, but the people that are believing in 47, they're following him into it as he runs the country into the ditch. That's literal. I said that's literal. He's leading the country into the ditch. Now, people can argue and say, well, he's doing the best he can, and I say I agree. He's doing the best job that he can, which tells you how bad of a job that he's actually doing.
Exactly.
So, you know, with his limitations, understand that he is the president, and he is in charge of the country. I'm not going to say a leader, because he's not leading, especially what he's doing now. But he's in charge of the country, so we have to put up with it. We got to deal with it. Um, you know, we gotta, if necessary, we have to do everything we can to resist being pulled into a place that we don't want to be, or we don't need to be, and have America actually honor its promises for life, the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And on that note, I'm going to close the show down a little bit today. Um, I want to thank everybody who's been on. I want to thank everybody who's been on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live, on Rumble Live, Instagram Live, and TikTok Live. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Before I go, I would like to see if anybody has any words. Who has a hand up? Go ahead, Big Al.
Yeah, two quick things. Kamala Harris's book, 107 Days, is out. So I encourage those who are so inclined to go and buy it. I'm posting on my Facebook, let's make this the highest selling book in American history. And for those who care to, Jimmy Kendall will be back on tonight. And I can't wait to see him because every TV that tunes in makes the ratings go higher. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you, Big Al. Chocolate Pearl.
Oh, she's coming in. She just stepped out.
All
The
right,
last
go ahead,
minute
DJ
words.
Dabs.
How you doing?
You say
What's
something. Go ahead.
What's going on? I just want to see if y'all had any closing comments.
Oh no, just glad to see everybody came out tonight, and hope to see you next week, and keep it rolling.
Miss
Yeah,
Apple.
what he said.
I have nothing to say, but just thank you for tuning in, and as usual, keep your head on the swivel and be careful out there.
Also, I want to thank the family that's on tonight. So that you're not guests, you're a family, and those on all the socials. If y'all continue to watch us, I'm trying to get to 30,000 people on YouTube. I'm trying to get to 40,000 on TikTok. I'm trying to get to 10,000 on Instagram. So if I can't do it without you. So please, if you tell a friend that DFG's Corner is back again. We doing our thing and making it swing. And of course, we're going to have it and make it sing. So if you can't find somebody, if you can't laugh at yourself, find somebody to laugh at. And y'all have a great day.